Hi guys, Stuart of SBC Guitars. Thank you all for joining me today for my little Holy Coach guitar show uh, sh- stand tour. I just want to start off by saying that while I'm still, saddened that we can't all be together in the Estrel celebrating the final Holy Grail show, that I just think it's been a fantastic undertaking for the EGB to put all this together in such short notice. So yeah, well done guys, and thank you so much, and thank you for letting me be part of this show first of all. So this is my stand for the Holy Couch Guitar Show. It's a little bit different to how my stand would have been at the Estrel with all of that beautiful light that the Estrel seems to get. And in part it's also different because it's not actually the instruments I would have brought with me, because unfortunately a couple of the instruments didn't get finished. Even a couple of the instruments here, this instrument here isn't quite fully finished to the level I would have liked it to have been finished to. But unfortunately there's worse things going on in the world, and other things had to take priority a little bit. The thing that we're missing predominantly is two basses, a left-handed and a right-handed 6-string bass that will still get made, and you will still be able to see them via my various social media once they're finished. It saddens me I didn't get the basses finished, because actually that's probably about 50% of what we do now is basses. But anyway, so they would have been two multi-scale 6-string, say left and a right, single ERS pickup in each, but with loads of switching and customization options to really craft the sound of them. They were also going to be a bone saddle, so a little bit like this sort of style saddle, so you get that real nice warm resonance to them. To tell you a little bit about SBC guitars first, before I tell you about my actual guitars, I started building years ago, but professionally just a little over 3 years ago actually. And we originally started doing these like quite small bodied, so this one at the end here is one of our earlier builds, and it gives you a feel for the sort of where, like, I kind of set it up as where we came from to kind of where we are now. And originally they were smaller bodied, lighter weight instruments. They were designed to be sort of semi-ergonomic, with the intention that being a bit smaller and a bit lighter would shift the playing position right to the back of the instrument, and that would give you, it's almost like a bass style playing position, but it gives your arm just so much freedom to move around. And then we attended the Holy Grail Guitar Show in 2018, and we did a couple of lectures and we did a couple of talks with people on ergonomic guitars, and it just made us think that, this is the direction that we need to move in. So we started, we attended a couple of lectures is what I should say, rather than we performed, because that sounds like we performed them. And we started to move in that direction, and how we approach design now is that we very much fit the ergonomics of the guitar in first. So we think about the intention of the guitar, we design the ergonomics, and then we design the aesthetics around it, because we still think that aesthetics are really important, because people do buy with their eyes first. And also the aesthetics kind of gives a little bit of the implication of what the instrument is intended for, whereas the ergonomics is more a comfort, playability, even to an extent weight, what weight people are looking for. So I'll start from this end and tell you a little bit about my instruments. I built this for I think I built it in 2018, so it's a couple of years old now. It's a semi-hollow, so it's a solid centre block, 3-piece walnut. I saw this bit of walnut, I fell in love with it. I saw the bit of walnut that the fretboard's on, which you maybe can't see, but it seems to be quilted, which I've never really seen in walnut so much myself. and I designed the instrument around this bit of wood. And then, which is why, so the actual bit of wood is just slightly too short for the instrument, which is why the fretboard comes in a little bit more than I would have liked. But it's a lovely warm bit of walnut. It just feels nice. For this one, and as I say, this is before we went like quite ergonomic, so we don't have the foreleg cutaway. Now we pretty much always do that sort of foreleg cutaway because it's designed to give you, I suppose, equal playability to sit it on this leg, but also really to encourage you to sit it on this leg so that when you're playing at home, that you sit properly, you sit up properly, it avoids bad posture. With these were a little bit more, this is geared towards a more traditional look and vibe, a bit more blues, classic rock, obviously. It's fully carved inside and out. It's got a light carve on the front and the back. And as I say, it's carved inside as well, so that you get just that, oh, that's horribly out of tune. So you get the thinness for the resonance. The pickups themselves are Seymour Duncans. So that's a 59 at the bridge and a quarter pounder at the neck. And then anything else about this? Shallow hardware, Goto machines, got our little logo on the back there as well. And then it's just, it's ash sort of body fillets. I'm not quite sure what the correct term is. And then we've got a flamed maple top and back. All of our guitars as well come with CTS pots as standard, or, you know, whatever the customer wants, really. So moving on, I'd probably go with the Lyra and the Vega guitars first, because they were built around the same sort of time. Originally, we went with just a numbering system for our name, so this one's just called the SB4 Semi-Hollow. We will probably come up with a name for those. I guess with these two, they're kind of two different versions of like the modern approach to ergonomics. This one's a little bit more traditional in the shape of it. It's meant to be a little bit like a modern take on a SG-ish kind of instrument, but it's our own shape. It's just that it's like it's not quite a double cut, it's not quite a single cut, almost is the way I probably describe it. It's got some really unique stuff going on with the woods to start with. So the actual woods on the back they're mostly reclaimed or saved woods. So all of this African mahogany is all saved from my childhood house. That's all from I happened to be walking past it. Don't live there anymore. My parents don't live there anymore. But it was built by my granddad. Happened to be walking past. Had this beautiful 1970s African mahogany porch. The current owner was taking it down. It's still in really good condition. So I bought it off of him, and I have been using the wood, and I actually use the wood in quite a lot of my guitars because, I mean, there's a nice sentimentality to it, but also the other reason is it's really stable wood. It's really reliable, stable wood. Very well seasoned, because it's been seasoning for like the best part of 40 years. The plates themselves are magnetic. So they just sit in. This is kind of the one thing that's not quite finished on this instrument, is I'm not quite happy with the look and how the plates are sitting. But otherwise, it's like, it's a lovely playing instrument. Most of my instruments tend to come set up with pretty low action because that's how I tend to play them. But this is quite a nice twangy guitar. This is a 24.5-inch scale. I should say on that one, that's a 24-inch scale, so that is quite a short scale as well. What else have we got on it? We've got the lacewood, the burl lacewood top. This is from a guy who has a small timber yard in North London, and he rescues trees from the chipper, and some of the wood is just stunning. So that is all, like I say, that's a burl lacewood top. You've got these lines, these dark lines going through it, which I think must be like soot or something. Some of the wood has like bits of shrapnel in it and old clinker nails and all sorts. So it's really fantastically beautiful wood. We filled some of the bells with brass, sorry. And then on this one, again, the pickups are the same actually. There's no, this is an SH4 Seymour Duncan at the bridge and a Jazz at the neck, so a little bit different to the other one. CTS pots. We pretty much always put a kill switch on our instruments now. We've got then the sort of German carve style around here, and then of course the obvious thing is we've got the sort of ribbons of Purple Heart going through the top as well. It's just a aesthetic thing, but this is what I mean in a way about fitting the aesthetic around the sort of instrument. With this one, the bridge isn't quite as far back, so we've started moving it a little bit more forward on our instruments. But even still, if I stand in a sort of playing position, it's just, this is rolled over, so it's really nice and comfortable. It's a lemon oil finish, this one. It's really heavily soaked in lemon oil, and it feels like silk. And yeah, so that's a really comfortable armrest to have your arm on. There's nothing there. Lovely for fingerstyle, lovely for, it's a great classic rock instrument, being what it is. And it also does metal, jazz, all sorts. It's a really versatile instrument. We do like to pride our versatility in our instruments. 7-piece neck, sycamore fillets, and a little fumed ash fillet. Because we work with a lot of reclaimed woods as well, every now and again we do get some nice oddities. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a couple of little dimples in here, and they're just little marks where this is such a thin neck, but where we had a couple of screws going through the actual piece of wood. So that had to be taken down to that level, and that was just kind of, because it was already so thin there, that was as thin as we'd let it. So we decided to leave these little, you can't feel them, they're just depressions in the wood, but yeah, we just decided to leave those in there. Plus it, sort of as a nice nod to the history of the instrument. The Vega. This guitar is very special to me. I built this guitar honestly in the hope that it would get us into the Holy Grail Guitar Show, because I built it just before about when I was expecting them to start to ask for you guys to start to ask for exhibitors, and it was entirely designed to push myself as far as possible in terms of the construction. I always try and approach construction a little bit differently anyway, and try and have fun with construction and just push myself, particularly with building predominantly solid body guitars, because I can, I think. So there's a couple of special points to this one. The key thing with it, with the Vega, is the step top. The point of the step top, or the main point of the step top, is for this is obviously a little bit geared towards a more metal, high performance guitar, great for tapping, soloing, things like that. And I wanted a real high density wood on the top. I didn't necessarily want it to be like an all over finish. So we thought we'd do this. We got this lovely dense bit of wenge, capped it onto this bit of flamed ash, and then we've got this beautiful hard, really, really hard surface for the bridge saddles to sit on, and you just get a lovely level of attack. And that's the main function of the design, really, of the step top. Again, through neck, most of our instruments are, although we're moving towards some more set necks with basses and such. This is a 5-piece neck, Purple Heart in the middle, walnut, and some, I don't think it was reclaimed, it was sort of saved from a bit of a stockpile of wood that was going spare at a lumber yard. So that is, if I remember right, I think it's Mindy wood. It's got a really nice subtle flame all the way through it, and I just thought, for a fillet wood, that's just exactly what you want, really. 2-part fretboard, and then this is the start of the ideas that we've got going on the Cygnus, with doing a sort of almost like a solar system, like a star system logo layout on there, or it's not quite a logo, sorry, an inlay. ABM hardware, Goto machines. We've got a little pull out truss rod cover. So that is just like a friction fit truss rod cover that just pushes in there. A little purple heart, string guide. Yeah, I mean, like I say, this is a real, I'm so proud of this instrument. I'm going to do, hopefully, a little bit later on, some close-ups of my instruments and just try and give some demos of the sound, because they all sound quite different. They're all geared towards sort of slightly different playing, and they're all, because they are stock instruments, they are geared to give the best versatility and a good range of sounds between them. On this, I've got a set of custom wound ERS pickups. These are the ERS plurals. Now, the surprising thing about these is, though they are sort of meant for sort of higher output stuff, they're quite low output pickups themselves, with the intention that you can drive them harder and they stay cleaner. What else? They're also out of phase in the middle, so you get this really surprising, when you go to the middle position, you get this really surprising, quacky, almost funky sound, which is great fun. Push pulls on each, and again we have a kill switch. Something we switched to doing with these ergonomic builds as well is a jack socket that goes in from the top. And then last, but by definitely no means least, I have my Cygnus model guitar. I'm just going to put the straps back on this stand. There we go. This was supposed to have a stand like this as well. I had just enough material left over to make one, but again, it's just a time thing. So this is my reclaimed wood challenge. I will hopefully definitely be putting up some more detailed videos, and well, there's already pictures of all of this stock available through my Instagram if you want to have a look in a little bit more closer detail. But I will be putting up some videos, I think, of this one, because this is a very special build to me. I wanted this to almost be like the opposite of the Vega build, in that it's a similar approach in terms of the ergonomics and the feel of it, but I wanted this to be a much more jazzy guitar, a much more almost like a finger picking style guitar, like something that you would sit and play and barely touch a pick while you're playing it. It works lovely with a pick, but it's just that, everything about it, the fan is a lot sort of less sharp than the fan on the Vega for a start. The woods itself, it's an antique pine top. I think it's about 100 years or so old. And then the back, and there's a little sort of fillet wedge in there as well, which is what is like a sort of solid centre block, and the outside area. That is all made from, and that's one piece on the back, by the way. That's all made from a Victorian countertop that, again, was saved by my granddad, and I was sort of lucky enough to inherit. The little plate there, it was just an access for getting the jack through, and that is made from a little brass plate that I found in a charity shop and hacked up into that little cover plate. And then the neck, again, is a bit of my old 92 stock, as I call it, the porch wood. And the fretboard is a bit of the countertop. So, and that's all quarter sawn as well. The back's all sort of quarter sawn, so you can see, particularly where it just slightly rolls over, you get all that quarter sawn sort of speckling which is lovely. The pickups are hand wound by myself. I'd never wound pickups before where I've tinkered, I've played around with them, I've dismantled a couple of sets. But I wanted to wind a set, so this was a real trial by fire. So I did some investigation, I looked at the guitars that I owned, I looked at a lot of like the pickups that I really love. So the ones that I really like, other than the ERS pickups, is All City Blackbirds. And they're Alnico 5s, and I love the sound of them. So I got Alnico 5 pole pieces. They're hand wound. They're about 12k and about 7k output. So again, they're hot, but they're not, you know, they're not shiny hot. And that one actually is just absolutely lush. In the middle position, you've got a out of phase, and then you've got a humbucking as well. So that's you know, quite a unique little tweak. And then the pots, I don't know if you can see the pots, they are sort of designed to mirror again that sort of solar system, star system inlay. Again, this is better photographed on my Instagram if you want to go over and have a look at that. The body is semi-hollow, so there's a solid centre block in there, and then the body itself is hollow, and it's fully hollowed out, so the inside is hollowed to match the carve on the back. And then something's a bit unique with this is because it's a small thin-bodied instrument, we wanted to give it as much resonance as we could. It's hard to strum a guitar upside down. So there's little reeds inside the body designed to vibrate and amplify the sound. The bridge is a bone saddle with a little bit of some reclaimed oak. Again, same oak as on the headstock, so that's reclaimed oak that someone, it was a door that someone gave me, and I made an entire guitar for them from the door. So that's some offcuts. So reclaimed wood is really important to me. I work with it a lot. I don't know whether or not I'll work with reclaimed pine again if I can avoid it, because this has been an absolute dog to work with, particularly for a guitar top, because trying to get it so that enough of it was quarter sawn in the top, and I ended up doing a couple of pieces for the top, 3 pieces actually, but I think because the centre block is, you know, sitting on a block of wood anyway, I wasn't so fussed about that. But I wanted these to be as close to quarter sawn, but it's so tricky because it's so quickly curved, but they are really nicely closed rings on it, which is lovely. But you can see like there's a little hairline fracture here. Now that is actually braced underneath, but that's still fractured along there once I'd assembled it, because it's just, I think pine is just so delicate for the job. And also this is a prototype, so you know, in the next one, as and when I build another one, that bracing will go all the way to the edge and will actually be part of the body, rather than that bracing is just part of the top. So it's literally cracked just at the end of the bracing and just before it meets the body. But you know, that's the point of prototyping, isn't it? That's the point of, you know, experimenting and having fun and making these wild and different instruments. As I say, I'm going to try and do some mini videos, focus on some of the instruments today, just to give you some samples. I don't know if you can see this. I'll tip this up a little bit. I have my Brelia amp there, which is being a big fan of Boutique. That's a Boutique head, and then that cab I made myself. So the cover is just a little bit of reclaimed Birds of Paradise fabric, not reclaimed, but it's just an offcut, and then it's lacewood back and sides. I'm going to stop waffling there. I'm hopefully going to do a live event tomorrow afternoon, so if any of you have any questions on any of my instruments, please do feel free to send me any questions, comment them in put them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them during the live event, and also I'll probably try and answer them during the live event as well if you have asked me any there. I'll probably do that via Instagram, and then you'll see that on the calendar on the HGGS website. Thank you all so much for listening to me talk for 20 odd minutes, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Also, tomorrow morning we have a premiere coming out, which is a video put together by my friend and signature artist Calvert Stevens with his 6-string custom bass and students from BIM, and it's an absolutely beautiful video and a lovely bit of music for a Sunday morning. So I hope you enjoy that as well. Please do like, subscribe, follow, all of the usual things. Thank you so much for watching.